All right, Coach, we just like to have a sit down and speak with you a little bit about your golf program, starting with kind of a recap of the fall for both programs.
The fall was very interesting. I had a lot of research to do for my men's side because I have 8 individuals. I'm trying to figure out who my top 5 are. I kind of have an idea, my 3 people that I like. I like to go to tournaments with. I'm still looking for that 4 and 5 guy. This last fall, I had 2 tournaments where I could take individuals just to give them a little bit more experience, just to see what they can do and figure out who we're going to be looking at for OVC, because you can only have 5 players, and I'm trying to take the best 5 players I have and not have a doubt in my mind. Now, this fall is very interesting because there's people I thought were going to step up, other people did. And it's going to be very interesting to see how we're going to develop this winter and going into the spring, where we're going to have UT Martin, the Grover Page tournament, where we'll take an individual there. So we'll have 6 players to get some experience and get tournament reps in, as you would say. Then we have another time where our Big Blue tournament, we're going to have all of our players playing in that. So it's going to be really interesting to see how it pans out, because I'm looking for a couple individuals to really step up and show me what they have, and some of them I'm not quite sure right now. But that's a great thing about this game is anybody's game, really.
Does it help having 8 individuals, basically competing with each other every day in practice, as well as when they get to a tournament and they have that opportunity? Does that help kind of?
Yes and no. It's great that you have 8 guys, because it's going to, there's going to be competitiveness to make sure that they want to make the tournament. But also on my part, it's going to be hard because it's going to be difficult to figure out who I'm going to take.
Right.
Because there's sometimes I don't know, and it's almost like a game of a chance. Just flip a coin, let's go, and you can't really do that. You like to, but you're trying to make sure that you take the best 5, but it's hard. It really is difficult to make sure that you bring your best players to the tournament, and it's hard to figure out who they're going to be. And I'm going to get phone calls from players saying, "Why am I not playing, Coach?" And it's real difficult having to tell them that they're not able to go because of these reasons, when really you wish you could take them, but you can't.
Now, on the women's side, having an opportunity to play a lot of their tournaments early, and then been basically practicing a lot lately, trying to get into that. Kind of give a little recap on the women's side.
The women's side, we got out of the gates real quickly. We had 3 tournaments real early, and we kind of got the idea of, who's going to be leading this team and who needs some work. And there's going to be a little bit of work for our players. We have Kelly. She's our number 1 player. She's going to be kind of the leader of this group. She's going to keep it together, and it's going to be us trying to build the team around her. And she does a great job of motivating other players when she has a bad hole, or we play one hole and it's time to go home after practice. She's like, "No, I can't leave on that note. I gotta leave on a better note than that." And she'll actually bring the other players to be like, "Okay, I'll play with you, Kelly." So that's a great thing to have on your team, because it's pure motivation for the team and wanting to be out there and wanting to get better. And that's just really cool to see, and having that type of individual on our team, it's going to make everyone better. And we have a lot of work to do with a few individuals, but from the point in which they came in until the point they're at now, they're a better person, or they're a better person in general, but they're a better golfer now. Just more fundamentally sound in their golf swing. Their demeanor's a lot better.
You talked a little bit about Kelly Merkel kind of being that maybe cornerstone in a sense, being a freshman, now going to be here for 4 years and really build, but you still have a young team as well with Sarah Needleman and Chelsea Marlin, and then even Amelia Dapp, who is basically in her first year of competition to extent, and you only have one returner, being Bria, being a situation, you're still very young.
Yes.
So Kelly being that cornerstone, as well as maybe others coming in, what do you look for in the future of women's golf at Tennessee State?
It's very exciting. We already have 3 verbal commitments on our team for our women's program. So that means we're going to have 4 sophomores, technically, 4 sophomores, and then we're going to have 3 freshmen, a very young team. And that's great because we're going to be building the team of the future. And we do, have to kind of use Kelly, say, look what we have. Kelly's our number 1 player. She's our leader. And I tell Kelly, we're going to build around you. We have 3 commitments. And sometimes when you tell your teammates that you have 3 commitments, they're kind of like, whoa, 3. That's a lot, coach. We're going to have 7 players on our team next year. Well, that's great because we're going to have competitiveness. And that's what Kelly says. She's like, I love it. Because we're going to want to make that top 5. And we're going to want to play hard. We're going to want to get better. And it's just going to make the team environment even better. And we'll actually be competing in the OVC in the future because we're finally getting the players that we need to get in to be better. And it starts with Kelly and Amelia, Chelsea, and Sarah. Now, Bria, she's in the nursing program. It's, a lot of people understand that that's the majority of her time, so she might not be with us next year. Maybe we would like her to be here because she is that core that we have, and she's a great leader and great person to be around to make sure that everyone does what they need to be doing. But that's where we're going to be at, and so we're looking at 7, and now you're talking qualifying. We couldn't say that in the past for the women's program, but we're going to have qualifying for a tournament, and that's going to be really cool in the future.
Well, one of the greatest things is it looks like, with the men's team, which is a very, very young team as well. Obviously, you do have someone such as Cameron Sitter, who's been here for 4 years and as a senior now. But, of course, with the group of Dallas Hill and Andrew Warner and James Stepp, and there's so many others that are so young, all of a sudden you've kind of built this cornerstone for them. It's nice to see the men and women kind of looking the same way, obviously putting your stamp on it. Now, speak a little bit on the men's team of, how they're going to be able to progress into the future as well, with the fact that, with the same kind of building process you did with the women, and you've obviously done with them, but what's their next step?
Well, we have a very young team in some aspects. We do have Cameron, who is a senior. He's our only senior, and that would be a very significant loss when we lose him because he's become a better leader. He's become more self-motivated, and he's maturing as an individual. And it's sad that you lose those players, but that's the reason why they're seniors, okay? And they're going to go venture off in their next career path, as you would say. But we have a few juniors. We have sophomores. We don't have any freshmen. I'm looking to bring just maybe 1 person next year. I'm not trying to build a huge team. There's some teams in this conference that have 12 to 15 players on their team. I'm not looking for that. I'm looking to have my 7 or 8 players where I can have the competitiveness and I can work on that team and I can show a little bit more one-on-one individual coaching for a team. When you have too many players, all you're doing is just trying to round up the cows. That's all you're trying to do. Okay, so we're really trying to make sure that we keep a core that we have, kind of build the vision I want. They're really maturing as individuals, especially over this last couple months, because we had 5 tournaments this fall, and I really got a good sense of who are the ones that are going to be coming up in the future, and who are the ones that I'm going to be questioning about. And it's really difficult when you're trying to make sure that you take the best 5. But when you go out recruit, see, I'm a male, so I'm very picky because I'm a very competitive person. So when I go out recruit, I'm very picky on the players that I want, and it's make sure that I bring in what I envision as TSU golf.
You'd mentioned a little bit about Cameron Sitter being a senior, and this last weekend he went out at the OSP Intercollegiate and did something he had never done before and shot a career high, shooting a 69, and then coming back the very next day and repeating the feat and doing it, 2 times in a row, and then adding a 2-under in his second round, finishing second, just 1 stroke off of the leader. Speak a little bit about Cameron and his weekend that he had this week.
It was very exciting. It was an honor to be present to see him do that at Austin P. Last year, he didn't play as well. He didn't really like the course. It didn't fit his eye. kind of talk to him and say, hey, sometimes golf courses don't work out that way, okay? It doesn't fit your eye, but you find a way to make it work. And what do you know? He found a way, he made it work, he figured out what he needed to do. The previous problems that he had was his putting. It wasn't working for him. And me and him sat down a little bit and said, hey, we need to figure something out for your putting. Okay, you need to get confidence back. You need to get everything lined up. Your eyes might not be right. And look what happened. He changed up his putter. He got something else that looked good to his eye, and he made a lot of putts. And that's where it came from. His putting was great. His ball striking has been very well. Been phenomenal this fall. He's hitting the ball great. But the putting was keeping him from shooting the rounds he wanted to do. Well, it all came together this weekend. And it was really cool to see him. His swagger was there. Okay, and you could tell he was in the moment, and he was playing great. And for him to come back that second day and shoot another 3 under, that's just that on his personal side, that is awesome. Because I'll tell you, he was nervous. He was just like a coach. I'm nervous. Well, I told him, hey, it's another golf round. Go out there, play your game. Don't even worry about it. Just worry about your game. Don't worry about anything else. And he went out there and shot a good round. He would have won that tournament. I'm telling you. He lived out on the second to last hole, and then he left it a couple inches short on 10. And I told him, you could have won it, but hey, you can't be mad with that round. But I'm telling you, it's going to open the floodgates for him in the future. And I can't wait till next spring to see him go out there and just kick butt. And he's going to be all conference, I have no doubt, and he's going to help lead this team, because not only did he prove to the other team that he made an improvement in a career best, is he's going to get everyone else to fall in line. And that's what a leader does. And he's going to figure that out, and the other players are going to follow in with him.
One last thing about Cameron real quick, and this course that you played was a very long course. And Cameron's always been one to say, is like, I don't know how well I do on long courses. What changed that mentality for him to just go out and attack that course and basically shoot an 8 under, for the week?
Well, the really unusual thing about this golf course was the defense on the golf course is the wind, and it picked up quite a bit on the first day. And there was a couple holes, it was 5 and 6, and it played very long. You hit driver into a par 3. No one wants to do that. It's really unorthodox when that happens. And you had to hit driver. And then the next hole, you had to hit at least 260 to carry the creek. So you're talking 2 holes, and a kid that is 4 under going to those 2 holes, he makes it out of those holes without making too much of a mistake, and then he gets it back to the easier holes. Now, the great thing about that golf course was it was in a direction of the wind where it wouldn't hurt you too much on the other holes. Now, it's golf management. Okay, when you get into longer golf courses and you don't hit as far, you have to play basically defense. You knock down the fairway in the long holes, and you just make sure you get on the green and aim for the center of the green. Because if you try to direct the ball too much when it's windy and it's long, you're going to put yourself in positions it's going to be very difficult to recover from. So he put himself in a position to make sure that he got the pars where he needed to make the pars. And he was making birdies on holes you probably shouldn't make birdies on. But that's what happens when you strike the ball well and you're putting good. Things are going to fall in line. And when you're hitting the ball as good as he was and putting good, you weren't thinking about distance. You're just thinking, let's go to the next shot.
Between the fall and the spring season, what's kind of your schedule, and what do you do with the team between that time?
From this point until spring tournaments? Yeah. What we'll do is we'll kind of just we'll work on the things that we need to work on. Maybe there's a swing issues with a couple individuals where we'll keep working with them, make some swing changes because we'll have so much time between now and then, and we'll just keep everything loose. We won't be going military drills or anything on the golf course or on the range, but we'll just make sure we keep things going for the rest of this semester, and then when we get into next semester, we're going to hit it hard on making sure our short game is where it needs to be, our putting is where it needs to be, because that's the only thing that we lack. We don't make a lot of big numbers, but the one thing we don't do very well is make a lot of putts and recovering from a bad shot and getting up and down. So what we're going to work on is make sure our short game is spot on, we're making putts, We need to make more birdies as a team. And once we do those things, we're going to be well prepared for the spring for UT Martin, especially with the girls. We're going to be working a lot on, managing the golf course, dealing with certain situations. They're very, smart when it comes to golf IQ, but they just don't know how to hit those shots just yet. And that's what we're doing this fall is what we've learned from the tournaments that we played and what we struggled at. We're going to work on this fall so that we come into the spring, we won't be hitting any, red lights and, deer in the headlights kind of thing. We're going to be more prepared, and we're playing a lot of good tournaments. I'm looking forward to Murray State's tournament and Tech's tournament, and we have our Big Blue tournament, so we'll be in familiar territory, and it'll be really fun. And we finally got the women's Big Blue tournament back, and I know we had it in the past, but we wanted to get it back to have our own tournament.
All right, Coach, thank you very much, and good luck to you this season.